Hi Taurus, welcome to your January 2019 Thurology 33 reading. We have a Celtic Cross spread in front of us. Normally that's a 10 card spread, but you get a couple extra cards in the spread. And then we have an Oracle card as always to help tie everything together at the end. And I actually have a couple of additional things that I've added for this month, but we'll get through all that one by one. Let's start with the main cards. In the main position, we had two cards. And that's the Three of Pentacles and the Magician. So the Magician is a major arcana card that for me typically points to South Node energy, and then also to Jupiterian type energy. Just that, easy ability to manifest things that reminds me of the Jupiter influence. And then the Three of Pentacles is actually a Capricorn card, represents the middle 10 degrees of Capricorn. And if I'm not mistaken, there's actually going to be a eclipse in those degrees of Capricorn in January. So that could be what this is pointing to, and saying that energy is really going to be what helps you get into this mode. But to me, typically this is like a Saturn and Venus energy, where, almost like a Venus transit to your Saturn sign that help beautify things. So you're building something stable, usually, and then it's something that you'll be pleased with, whether just an aesthetically pleasing or just overall you're happy with the outcome of what you're building. And the main way that I'm seeing this, actually, especially with the Magician card here, and like I said, that represents the South Node, which is also in Capricorn. So for most of you, I have a feeling that you might be going back to school, or maybe college, for example. Like maybe you're starting with the spring semester, and with the eclipse starting there, that could be a positive influence for that, and a signal of an auspicious time to start it. But this could also just be, maybe at your job. Let's say you're training for a new position at your job. That's certainly a possibility. But for most of you, just keep in mind that with the Magician here, whatever this is that you're trying to manifest, this could be beautifying your home, for example. There's actually going to be a lunar eclipse around the 20th or 21st of January. That's actually going to be at 0 degrees Leo, which is your 4th house. So that could be wrapping up something at home, for example, that you've been working on, some kind of renovations. But for a lot of you, I'm getting the feeling that this is more related to either going back to school, like I said, or possibly just maybe leveling up at your job. And in the Challenger obstacle position, we have the Page of Pentacles. So this could just be saying that you're close to that goal. So again, let's say if it's that you're going back to school, maybe you don't have much further to go. So, it's not like you're starting from scratch per se, but, maybe you just had gotten close to getting your degree and you had to stop for whatever reason. Or if this is a job thing where, you're just getting a potential promotion, but you have to take a few trainings first, or you're training on the job for the new position. This could just be saying that you're pretty close, but not quite where you need to be, and that's what you're going to be working on this month. For some of you, though, this could also be pointing to you feeling like you're not ready for this. The reason I say that is the actual Taurus court card is the King of Pentacles. And, with that card, the person seems very secure in their throne. They have a firm grasp of the pentacle. And if we look at this person here, the way I usually describe the page energies is somewhat like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of energy, but more of just feeling a little gun shy, not feeling too confident and comfortable. And if you look at that pentacle, it's like just out of their reach, right? So you might feel like you're just not quite ready yet, or maybe you're not quite grasping it yet. Maybe, for example, for some of you, if it's going back to school, maybe you haven't done that. Maybe you haven't been in school for, I don't know, 5, 10 years, right? And you feel out of place going back into that environment. But, it looks like it should work out fairly well for you. There's some pretty decent cards that point to that. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Devil card. So this is actually the major arcana card for Capricorn. So there's more Capricorn energy here between that, and then, like I said, that is also a Capricorn card for me. So this could just be, again, pointing to you really throwing in a lot of energy and focus into that area of life, which is ninth house, which is why I said, it could totally be related to going back to school. But for some, you just could just be saying that you're taking on that Capricorn energy in general, right? And the sun's going to be in Capricorn for a good part of the month. And then towards the end of the month, the sun will actually go into Aquarius, which is your 10th house. So Capricorn's the natural ruler of the 10th house. So you combine those two factors, I would say that, this could just be the energy you're really taking on, that you're really working hard at something, focused on it, almost obsessively so, with the Devil card here. For some of you, this could also just represent a karmic relationship as well. I didn't necessarily get a relationship vibe from those cards just yet, but that is certainly a possibility as well. And we'll see how that plays out as we go through the rest of the spread. As I'm talking right now, actually, something that popped out to me is this is a cardinal sign. The Justice card here is a cardinal sign. The Chariot, which is the Cancer, is also a cardinal sign. And while this isn't the Emperor, which would have been the other, the only cardinal major arcana card that's not here, while this isn't the Emperor, it is still an Aries card. So it's interesting that you're basically surrounded by cardinal energies, which is saying that, there's a lot of energy around getting things off the ground. And a lot of us want that energy around anyway when the new year comes, right? Everyone likes to set their New Year's resolutions and goals and whatnot. So, at least in that regard, it looks like you would have supportive energy there for that with all these cardinal energies popping up in the spread. Um, but yeah, in the past position, we have the Chariot card. So this is actually the major arcana card, as I was saying, for Cancer. So some of you could have been dealing with the Cancer. There was actually, I'm trying to think when it was, July, I believe, was when there was actually an eclipse in Cancer as well. So that could be what's going on there. Um, could just be something that started around that time that maybe you're coming back around to now, for example. Maybe it was something that you had initially planned back in July, and now you're actually getting around to bringing it to fruition. That's certainly a possibility. Um, and the North Node actually moved into the sign of Cancer now as well, which is your third house too. So, you could just be communicating more over the next 18 months, being encouraged to do so and just growing in that area of life. And that could also represent short distance trips, so you might be traveling a lot more. Maybe with the new job, for example, maybe you have a bit of a commute, or if you're going back to school, maybe you'll be commuting back and forth rather than staying on campus, which would make sense, especially if you're someone who's going back to school, right? If you're not just going straight out of high school into college, or maybe you're going in after 5, 10 years. Most people at that point, they commute rather than stay on campus. Um, but, taking the astrological aspects out of the picture and just looking at this strictly as the card that it is, this could also represent long distance travel for some of you. So maybe some of you made a long distance trip in the recent past, and maybe some of you even purchased a car. This is another thing that this card can represent. But really, I was seeing it more as energetic, and I feel like for some of you, this is really going to point back to what was going on back in the time of July. when the sun was in Cancer. So you guys would probably know for sure if that resonates or not. And like I said, obviously some of you could be dealing with the Cancer. In the present position, we have the Three of Wands. So this card is usually referred to as waiting for your ships to come in. And like I said, it's an Aries card. It actually represents the middle 10 degrees of Aries. And Mars will actually be going into Aries in January. And I think it's going to be in those degrees around mid-month, maybe towards the end of the month. But maybe that's what this is pointing to. But, you know, as a collective whole, I would say that everyone's going to benefit from Mars essentially coming home, if you will, because Mars rules Aries. But for you guys, it'll be your 12th house, though. So could be interesting. Like, you might not have as much energy as you'd like in January. But it should come into your sign in February, though. So once you get it into your sign, you should definitely feel a little more energized. But with it going through your 12th house, you might feel a little, not lethargic per se, but, you might not feel as energized and as focused as you'd like to be. And, you might find your dream world a bit more active, But yeah, for some of you, maybe this is saying that you've already put in that work and now you're waiting for the rewards to come in for that work. That's certainly a possibility. And maybe that's what that's saying in the challenge position too. Like you feel like you've put in the work, you've manifested your goal, but you feel like you're so close to it. Like we said with the page having that pentacle just out of your reach. So you could just feel like, all right, it's close, it's close, you feel like you've put in the work. Now you're just waiting for the reward to come in. And in the near future position, you got 3 cards. We have the Justice card, which, as I mentioned, as I was looking at the cards surrounding the main situation, this is another cardinal card, and it's for the sign of Libra. The Four of Swords, which is also actually a card for Libra for me, the last 10 degrees of Libra. And the Two of Cups, which is actually a Cancer card for me, the first 10 degrees of Cancer. So what this could be saying for some of you is if there was something that you were waiting on, some type of decision, it can be a legal decision, but it doesn't always have to be. Maybe it was just a common everyday connection that you had where you felt like there was an imbalance. This could be receiving word of the scales being balanced this month. And if that's the case, it could be something that you were still healing from. And with the Two of Cups being in the mix too, it could be a love relationship that, maybe there was some kind of falling out, for example, or this could just be saying that someone totally new comes into the picture. Maybe, for example, this can represent sometimes the legal system. So maybe if some of you were getting divorced, let's say, potentially, and, you're waiting for the divorce to be finalized, right? So that's what this energy represents. You're just resting, waiting for it all to be completed, and then, okay, once it's completed, almost like your reward, if you will, for, as far as justice being served and the scales being balanced, a new love relationship comes in. That's certainly a possibility. But yeah, again, like I said, there's just a lot of cardinal energy here. So, like I said, even with Mars being in your 12th house right now, well, for January, I should say, you're not, maybe you won't feel as energized as you should, but it looks like there's a lot of supportive surrounding energy that's going to help you get things off the ground. But yeah, like I said, that's what I'm feeling. Something that was imbalanced that, you were still healing from, and this is the month where the conditions improve. Like I said, whether it's with a person that you were dealing with or someone new comes along, almost like a karmic reward if you were the one who was done wrong in that situation. All right. Now, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Six of Pentacles. So, this is actually a Taurus card for me. It represents the middle 10 degrees of Taurus. And then on top of that, it's, you could pretty clearly see the scales. So, this almost makes me think back to the Justice card. So, it's certainly possible that for some of you, you guys are the ones who actually need to restore balance in a connection. Because, I mean, the color similarities and then the scales just makes me think that, maybe this was you and maybe that's what you're working on, right? Maybe this isn't career related. Maybe this is you working on repairing a relationship of some kind. And, if that's the case, looks like you will be putting in the work to do so. The Four of Wands is at the bottom of the deck as well, which could definitely point to relationships and a positive relationship dynamic as well. That's another Aries card, actually. And then to me, it's like a mix of Mars with Jupiter. So, just expands a relationship. So, definitely, maybe you guys, some of you going to the next level in a relationship. That's certainly a possibility. In the position of the environment's influence on the situation, we have the King of Wands. So this is actually a Leo card for me. It's the court card for Leo. So some of you could be dealing with a Leo. I can't help but notice that, just from the position of the spread, they're looking directly at the Justice card. So, maybe this is someone who's waiting for you to restore the balance with them. Maybe if there was a Leo you were connected with, then maybe you weren't treating them exactly fairly. Maybe they're waiting on justice to be served this month. And if that's the case, it looks like you would be putting in the effort to do so. For others of you, this could be a Leo in your life that's actually helping to restore the balance. So, for example, maybe if this was a divorce, like I said, maybe your lawyer is a Leo or the judge, right? And they're the ones that are going to say, all right, we're going to make sure balance is restored. But I also have to look at just the astrological aspects with this as well, with this being the card of Leo. And as I mentioned, right when the sun enters into Aquarius, there's going to be a full moon eclipse in Leo. And, you guys have been dealing with eclipses on that axis, the 4th and 10th house axis, for the past 18 months. This would be the very last one of those for about another 9 years, and then it'll even 18 until you get the exact same types of eclipses. But as far as the Leo Aquarius axis, you'll have about a 9-year break before you get more eclipses there. But yeah, so that could be what this is pointing to as far as a timeline. Maybe that Leo full moon in your 4th is going to be what puts this into motion, especially since this represents the near future position. So it makes sense, maybe you're waiting for this judgment, right? You're waiting for this justice to be restored when the month starts. And now, okay, by the time of that full moon, you'll have the clarity that you were seeking. And like I said, for a lot of you, it looks like it might actually be you guys who are the ones who are putting in the effort to restore balance, but it could certainly play out the other way. Could just be saying, again, this is your influence in the environment. So this could be you directly exerting that influence, or this could be saying that actions you're taking are almost bringing about that influence toward you. So it could play out either way there. In hopes or fears position, we have the 8 of Swords. So to me, this could just be saying, I would assume this is more of a fear for you than hope. This doesn't look like a position that many people would prefer to be in. So this could just be saying that maybe you're fearful of being stuck, right? Maybe you're fearing that things won't move forward. We've had a lot of retrograde energies over the past, let's say, 6 months or so, it feels like, right? We had, of course, Mercury, and then after that, we were dealing with Mars, then Venus right after that, and then back to Mercury. So, I mean, we're used to those retrogrades. I mean, we get Mercury retrograde a few times a year, and Venus is about every year and a half. Mars over every a little over 2 years, I think, is when it goes retrograde, and so it's not like these are brand new energies we're dealing with, but to have them all stacked on top of each other like that is very rare. So, you might have just felt like you've been spinning your wheels, like we said back in the past year. This is the Chariot card representing the time of Cancer. So it could be that you guys felt like since the summer, something you've been trying to get resolution on, it just hasn't been happening. And now, coming into January, all of those retrogrades and the shadow periods will be over with. And now maybe you're like, okay, finally we get some forward movement. And speaking of forward movement, in the outcome position, we have the Knight of Swords. Now, this does represent Gemini for me. So, some of you could certainly be dealing with a Gemini, but if we just take the energy as a whole, again, like I was saying with the forward movement, maybe this is representing rapid communication that you've been waiting on, right? Maybe, again, with that Three of Wands energy there, looks like you're waiting for your ships to come in. Maybe once this eclipse energy plays out, you finally get the answer you were looking for. For some of you, I do have to point out that this could also represent more like a combative form of communication. If you look at them, they're like really hauling ass, right? So, sometimes it could be aggressive communication, but I don't see a lot of conflict energy in this spread, though. So, for most of you, I think this will be positive news. Or, again, it could be a Gemini that you could be dealing with, or technically any air sign. This is my court card for Gemini. Could be an Aquarius or a Libra as well. And I mean, we already see there is some Libra energy on the table, and then also the Sun will be going into Aquarius, so could play out with one of those signs as well. But yeah, overall, looks like there's definitely going to be some movement. Like I said, the North Node is now in your third house, so if this is you, this could just be saying that you're more communicative this month. But yeah, overall, I'd say it's a pretty positive spread, And then when we move into February, you'll have Mars back in your sign too. So even if this is just really, setting the table for everything you're going to do, once Mars is in your sign, you should really get that push forward. But I mean, it looks like you're going to have pretty supportive energies already in place this month. All right, so let's take a look at your Oracle card. We have Chop Wood. There's the artwork for it and the number 42 in case it has any significance for you. We'll take a look at the messages for that. All right, it says essential meanings: being grounded in everyday experience, humility. The Oracle's message: there are times when the big dream is meant to lie dormant in your consciousness so that you can pay attention to the simple chores in your life. Consider why pruning a tree is the forerunner of delighting in the beautiful blooms when it is in full blossom. The mundane act of pulling off dead leaves, watering the soil, and then leaving it be to let nature take its course is an important step in manifestation. Taking your attention away from your goal brings you into a state of receptivity. This is the deeper purpose for releasing attachment. When you engage in everyday tasks in a meditative, contemplative way, you clear energy to receive your aha moments, which brings you ever closer to what you seek. All right, and then the relationship message says, nothing is as important right now as just doing what you need to do day to day. Let your heart remember that not everything has to be hard won, passionate, or even obviously meaningful. Relationships and friendships go through lulls when the everyday tasks are at the center of awareness. That is perfect now. Hold hands, wash dishes, make a fire, read a book, share a meal, say nothing, Stare into space, pick up socks, tell a dumb joke, and leave space to breathe. The work of your relationship right now is very simple. Just to be present. Funny how it takes work to just be. All is well, really. So, that could just be saying what this is. It's like, maybe it is, even though these are major arcana cards, maybe it really is just the little things that you would need to do, right, to restore balance in the relationship, if it is an actual relationship that this primarily resonates for you as. Maybe it's just saying it won't take much, just the little things to make them feel like a king, quote unquote. Maybe it really is just a matter of tending to regular everyday things that maybe have gotten neglected. Maybe everyone was so tied up with everything, especially around holidays. Everyone gets busy trying to do 100 things at once, and maybe the other person in the relationship was picking up a lot of the slack for a while. You guys had your ruler retrograde for a while, so that might have had you out of whack for a while the past few months. And so maybe they were picking up the slack, and now maybe it's saying that with everything coming back into order, maybe it's your turn to pick up the slack if that's the case. And then the prosperity message says, now is the time to take small steps rather than larger leaps on the journey to creating your most prosperous life. Move your focus off your big dream and attend to the mundane chores. Focus on the little things that may have piled up while you've been mapping out the greater plan for the life you aspire to see manifest into reality. Chop wood, carry water, as the Zen proverb advises, or wash dishes, walk the dog. While you're doing all that, Spirit will have a chance to move mountains and set wondrous miracles in motion for you. Remain humble and aware of the present. So to me, with that, the Six of Pentacles energy and also the Three of Pentacles energy there, to me that does represent putting in work, right? So as far as it says, just taking the small steps, you don't have to do anything crazy, and maybe that's what it's saying, just take the small steps, just start that forward movement, right? All this cardinal energy on the table. Start that forward movement, and then you'll see things come towards you. Things will start to fall into place in that regard. So yeah, I think that's it as far as the messages I'm getting there with the Oracle card, along with the spread. And then, like I was saying, I did have a couple of new things that I started this month, and one of them is actually I have another Oracle card, and that's the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, I should say. And the card you got from that is Starfish Spirit. There's the caption for it. It says, open to infinite possibility. There's the artwork for it. And the number is 59. So we'll read this message next. See how it ties into the reading. All right. It says, Oracle message. Stretched out on the beach, the starfish opens fully to the rays of the sun, to the power of potential. As you look out toward the horizon, do you open up to infinite possibility? Spirit is the source of opportunities beyond your wildest imagination and ensures endless possibilities are available. At this time, Starfish Spirit urges you to stretch past the limits of your everyday perception and comfort zone, to dream of bigger things and imagine with even greater hope and faith, for miraculous potential is shining down on you. Feel it, bask in it, and open yourself to be filled with inspiration. This is a very fortunate sign that Starfish Spirit has come to remind you of your infinite potential. So the Starfish Spirit and the infinite potential part, what my mind came to thinking about the infinite potential part was, like we said, in the main situation here, under that Three of Pentacles, you have the Magician, which is also very much pointing to, that concept of infinite potential, right? The ability to manifest whatever you want to manifest. So sounds like pretty good energies there as well. And then the last thing that I actually am starting this month is pulling a mudra card for you guys. And the mudra that you guys got this month is Prana. So there's the actual hand gesture that you could make in order to do it. And then I'll just show you the back of the card here so you could get, maybe you could take a screenshot of it in order to read what it says. But, just the basics, like it says here, as far as the benefits. It says increases overall vitality and immunity, activates the body's self-healing potential, benefits the eyes, improves digestion, assimilation, and elimination, decreases the body's susceptibility to injury and disease, improves concentration, and strengthens willpower and stamina. So, especially with all that cardinal energy that we saw in the spread, that could certainly benefit you, I'm sure. And what I'll do is I'll actually just put the name of this mudra in the description of the reading as well. So that way, if you guys want to Google it or look up YouTube videos on it, you could find out more information about it. But yeah, like I said, if you wanted to, you could just screenshot what it says here as far as applying it, its benefits and whatnot. Usually these are just poses that you could hold for a minimum of 5 minutes. They're like a little bit of a form of type of a meditation, if you will. That'll help clear energies for you. So if this resonates for you, you could definitely give it a try this month. All right. And that's all I had, guys. So we'll wrap up there. If you want a personal reading, you could check out the About section of my page for more info on that. And you could also check out my Instagram page where I have a little bit more fun with tarot and astrology over there. But if not, I'll see you guys next month. All right. Bye.